Welcome to the Future of Payroll and Workforce Management Insights by HR.com, your go-to resource for insights into payroll and workforce management. From navigating compliance and technology trends to exploring the latest in global payroll solutions, we're here to keep you ahead of the curve. Join us as we dive into the forces reshaping payroll and share practical strategies to optimize your workforce management. Let's get started. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Future of Payroll and Workforce Management, a podcast here at HR.com, where I am your host, Brent Skinner. I do many things at HR.com, and if you ever want to know, just reach out to me. But enough about me. Today is all about my guest, who is Kira Rubiano from Payroll Minds. Welcome, Kira. How are you?
Good. Thank you, Brent, and Happy New Year. It's a
Yes.
new year. And lots of, I'm sure, well, first of all, payroll professionals around the world are really working hard as it relates to year end. So it's not their favorite time of the year. That's for sure. But it is a brand new year, and I'm so excited to see what happens as we progress. There's so many things that have happened in 2025, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of exciting news for the industry as a whole as we move into the new year and into 2026.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, totally. It is a hectic time for payroll people. And just for viewers, we are recording this at the exact midpoint of January, which we agreed is the longest Monday of the year, the month
Yeah.
of January. So if you're seeing this sometime in February and you're thinking, why are they saying Happy New Year's, man? That's old news. That is why. But anyway, and February is also a tough month. We were talking about that. It's shorter, 3 days shorter. And that's kind of like a bonus for a lot of people. But for payroll people, that's kind of scary sometimes, right?
Exactly. Shorter timelines, shorter turnaround. Everything gets cut off a little bit. So February always used to stress me out when I over global payroll. So good luck, everybody. May the force be with you as you progress through year end and through February. We'll be thinking of you.
That's right. I get stressed in February too, because I got to figure out what to get whoever it is for Valentine's Day. But that's another
It's on a
conversation.
Saturday this year, so no excuses.
I know.
It's
Yeah.
dinner, flowers. You have to go out.
Yeah, it's great when it falls on Monday or Tuesday, right? Because then you can kind of, I had to. Anyway, so this is about payroll. So let's get back to payroll. I'd love to ask all my guests real quick before we get into the topic today, which is going to be about, you guessed it, artificial intelligence. What got you into payroll? What's your passion in this field? A lot of people, when they fall into payroll, but once they get into it, the leaders in it, they really, really like it, and they're really into it. They're passionate about it. What's your passion, Kira?
Yeah. So when I was in university, I studied international relations and law. And my goal was to work for the United Nations. Like that was something that I wanted to do. However, life had different plans for me. And by pure chance, I was able to meet Michelle Hanna-Michael, who's the founder of Celergo, which is now Celergo ADP. And she was hiring college grads. And she said, hey, I have this global payroll company. Would you be interested? And I was like, okay, well, it has global in the name. Why not? I was getting frustrated at the time with like applying to different internships within like that UN kind of world. And I said, why not? And the first day that I started, fresh out of college, I was handed a Nigeria payroll. And I was told, here you go. And I was like, what? I don't even know what payroll is yet. But what I learned, and I learned so much in the beginnings of my career, was that I, in essence, was keeping world peace by getting the world paid. So I was fulfilling my United Nations mission. And what I truly enjoyed and what really kind of satiated the need for me to work internationally was the ability to have connections, relationships with all of these different people around the world, whether it's in-country partners or clients. I was meeting these amazing individuals all around the world. I was learning about the world, and I was doing something extremely impactful. I was getting the world paid. And so for me, it aligned with everything that I had ever wanted to do, which was to work internationally in an impactful job. And that's why I stayed. I always tell people, I was never a numbers person. It wasn't something that I was passionate about, but I was good at it. So I was able to work through the numbers. But what really excited me was just learning about the world and
Yeah.
getting to know people and building relationships. I have friends everywhere at this point after almost 20 years.
That's awesome. That's such a great story. Keeping world peace by keeping people paid. I, I, I love that. There's a deep truth to that, a real deep truth, which is really interesting because not to get too much on a tangent here, but just
Mhm.
if people will just indulge me for a moment here, um, payrolls, is the center's ground zero of the employee experience, and we're all working to get paid and get payroll right, and you've gone a long way in supporting the employee experience. Get it wrong, and you've gone a long way in the other direction.
Well, yeah.
Uh,
Statistically, they say that after two payroll errors, an employee will start looking for a new role or a new job. So just two mistakes can lead someone, to have such a negative employee experience that they will leave. So it's really important
oh
for an
yeah, oh
organization to get
yeah,
it right.
oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And then the flip side is, how can you how can you sort of make payroll sort of engaging in some ways, or not, maybe even just helping people understand their paychecks and this kind of stuff, so that they're interacting with it from a positive standpoint as well. So it's not just avoiding the negative impact on the employee experience, but also having a positive impact as well, we've talked about that on the podcast a lot. But let's get back to the artificial intelligence,
Mhm.
because that's what we're going to talk about today. Um, you know, we've heard a lot about it. It's generating big promises in payroll, not sure where the truth ends and, the fantasy begins. We're not sure about that. We need strong foundations, however, right? Um, because those promises can quickly turn into pitfalls, even the real promises, right? Um, and so we're going to talk about that a little bit today, and you have a lot of insight from your perch at Payroll Minds. So let's get right into it. I have a question for you. So, um, what fundamentals must payroll departments master before AI can realistically add value? Like, what do payroll departments
Yeah.
have to understand and have in place first before they should even think about adding AI to the equation?
Yeah. And this is something that we deal with a lot at Payroll Minds, which is a global payroll consulting firm. And I'm a partner there. And so I get asked this question all the time. And I think a lot of times people come and say, I want to implement AI because it's the hot thing and I don't want to be left behind. But implementing AI for AI's sake is actually, it could be more detrimental because it actually highlights flaws that you might have. So what we always say is you must get the fundamentals right. Fundamentals, no, first and foremost, is data ownership. So making sure that you have clean data, that it's accessible. I mean, a lot of payroll leaders or HR leaders don't even know where all their data's coming from or where it's going. So if you don't have that, if you have silos, things are in different spreadsheets everywhere, you can't just roll out AI because it needs to have clean, centralized, accurate data to be able to leverage AI. Obviously, system integration. So making sure that you're not in an island, that you are collaborating with all of your departments, that you know, how bringing in AI could impact those other departments and work together and have that stakeholder alignment. And making sure that you have like governance from an executive sponsorship. If you want to roll out AI, you have to make sure that your leadership is on board with it. Like, what impact is it going to have? How is it measurable, right? Making sure that you understand that it has measurable impact. And also making sure that you have process discipline. So when we mean process discipline, that you are not doing all these manual workarounds everywhere, right? That you're, hodgepodging spreadsheets together, that you're making exceptions everywhere. If you you can't roll out AI if you have those types of processes in place. So once again, accurate data, making sure that all of your stakeholders are aligned, having that executive sponsorship, making sure that your processes are tight, that you have process discipline. Those are the fundamentals, and really understanding ultimately what you're trying to get out of it. Like, don't implement it
Yeah.
just because, like, understand, okay, it's going to have a measurable impact, right? It's going to either reduce our input processing time by 75%. We believe that it's going to help with our reconciliation process. It's going to help with answering queries for employees. It's going to help
Mhm.
with our data conversion, whatever it may be. Understand what impact that could have, and make sure that you can measure that.
Really interesting. What are some examples of where AI, hey, AI is not really going to be able to do this or that, no matter how ready you are to sort of adopt AI?
So I want to be careful in answering that because I don't know what the limits of AI are.
This is true. We
Yeah.
don't. Great point.
So I,
Great.
I can't really say that it can't because I think there's things that we thought that it couldn't do maybe a year ago and now it can. I'll give you an example. I know there are companies that are leveraging AI to process payroll calculations using
Really?
AI. Yes.
Okay.
So not a local, payroll engine, but using AI to actually do the calculations, calculate the tax, the gross to net. And we didn't think that that was possible maybe a year ago, and now it's
Wow.
happening.
Uh,
Uh,
well, I'm putting my tin hat on now. So this is yeah, that's actually quite amazing to me because that is something I've had extensive conversations with folks in the field, experts out in the field that were been adamant that AI would not be applicable in terms of the calculations and this sort of stuff. So that's pretty huge.
yeah, and I mean, and not to say that you know. We can trust it 100% yet, right?
Oh,
Time will tell how accurate things are. The other, component is like knowledge base access. So being able to know, okay, what is maternity leave in the Philippines? And I need to know, how to pay this out. Like now, different providers have built out whole knowledge databases that allows them to leverage AI so that these questions can be answered quickly and that you no longer have to wait for somebody to pick it up on a ticket and then answer that question for you. So that wasn't possible up until maybe a year or two ago. And now it's happening. Employees asking questions about their payslip. Now, when I log on to my payroll system, there's this new like feature. I forgot what it's called, but it basically says, "Ask me any question about your payslip." Before, the payroll person would have to answer that question, and now there's this tool that does it for us. So, if that's where we are today, I mean, I think in a year we're gonna be having even different conversations. Like I think the sky's the limit at this point.
wow, wow. That's
Well, with
exciting.
humans in the loop. Humans, when
Right.
it comes to payroll, humans must stay in the loop, and that's a term in AI that basically says, like, at some point there's a decision that a human needs to make following a process that AI had run or prepared. And so with humans in the loop, I think it's critical. AI can help create efficiency and really process optimization and make life easier for payroll professionals, but they still have to make those decision points, sign off, approvals, complex situations. uh, you know they're still very much needed.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. And I had a conversation with somebody out in the field around this, and I wish I could remember the term they used, but they had a really cool term, sort of a really encapsulated things in terms of how uh, keeping humans how humans are essential and it really captured the dynamic between humans and AI when it comes to sort of stewarding this kind of stuff. This might be a good segue. How can we sort of balance AI's potential as payroll organizations with the risks of over reliance or premature adoption? How can we balance
Yeah.
that?
I think the starting point is doing like a readiness audit or assessment is just understanding, do you have the fundamentals down? Like, can you even start having that discussion? Like, is your, once again, data clean? Are your processes tight? Do you have stakeholder alignment? Do you have overall executive sponsorship for this? And then really have the discussion, where could AI create the most impact? I think rushing to build something quickly is definitely um, you're jumping kind of first. And you
Agreed.
shouldn't. Also, there's so many tools out there now that I think if you're looking to see, okay, well, we have all these fundamentals in place. Are there any tools out there that could help us create efficiency in these areas? There are so many, especially in the HR payroll space, like recruitment. I mean, all of those areas that can really help create efficiency within an organization. So they don't necessarily have to build their own AI tools internally to be able to reap the benefits.
Yeah, yeah. When it comes to size of organization, let's talk about, um, you have small businesses, maybe startups that have to get payroll out, and maybe they have, I don't know, maybe 50 employees or whatever, and maybe maybe it's not necessarily, maybe they don't necessarily have a difficult situation that they're trying to sort of get a handle of, to get a handle on, so that they're ready for innovation, right? But are would you necessarily advise, and probably the answer is, it's a case by case basis, but just, w- is there any kind of organization that, no matter how well sorted their payroll is, hey, look, don't, don't go hog wild on AI. You don't really need too much of it. Is there anybody that you would advise, hey, look, um, just hold back a little bit on the AI, even though you have all your ducks in a row?
Yeah, I have a couple kind of comments on that. One, it's really you have to understand what your kind of strategy is. Like what problem are you trying to solve for? And are you set up for success to be able to solve that problem leveraging AI, even if you're a small organization? Okay, so I don't think that there is necessarily parameters that you have to hit, but at the end of the day, you as an organization have to know what your goals are. Is it something that you are set up to be able to do because you have all the fundamentals in place? If not, then you're kind of starting at the wrong place. The same goes for transformation. I think there's a lot of organizations that say, we're going to change our payroll strategy and we're going to move everything to this vendor, but they haven't solved like the core fundamental problems that they have. And that could be lack of alignment, lack of ownership. It could be data. Data is not centralized, it's fragmented, that there's silos, that they don't even know how their process is working. So if you're coming in with this kind of new solution, you're just putting a band-aid on what is already fundamentally in trouble. So fix those areas, and in tandem, you could sort of say, okay, now, we could think about these more robust solutions to help us create efficiency, whether that's through transformation or implementing AI.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's sage advice. Where do you think things will be a year from now? Just wild guess.
I, yeah,
Like what? Go ahead. Go ahead.
wild guess. Wild guess for me would be I think we're going to see agentic AI being rolled out, meaning AI agents that are going to be communicating with each other in the payroll process as a whole instead of a person with humans in the loop. So maybe one of the A- AI agents reviews all the inputs and flags where there's, concerns and tells another AI agent within the process, hey, these are ready, these are not ready, proceed to process, right? So that type of communication, almost not replacing humans, but automating a lot of the functions that payroll professionals and humans do. Once again, humans in the loop, kind of verifying each step. I think for sure we'll see that. I think we're going to see a lot more of kind of payroll providers talking about leveraging AI to help with payroll calculation. and automation. Also, like running simulations, kind of gross ups, any type of like calculation methodology, leveraging AI for that. Um, Definitely. And I think overall, we're going to see it more embedded in the employee experience. So employees interacting a lot more with chatbots, AI agents than they would with humans
Hmm.
as well.
That's interesting, and that changes the payroll department's charter in a sense, right?
Mhm.
Now you're more of a strategic arm, right? Because a lot of the transactional stuff is,
Mhm.
and even some of the lower level interactional stuff is 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 being handled by that AI. So it's really an opportunity for payroll organizations to seize the moment and present themselves as a strategic asset to organizational leadership,
Mhm.
right?
Agreed.
Yeah.
100%. And I think it's a mindset shift. So like when you have capacity to think about those things, like really think about it, really sit down and say, what can we do to elevate our organization? What can we do to improve the employee experience? What can we do so that payroll professionals can take a vacation and
Maybe even in February.
not
Uh,
take their laptop with them, checking every 2 seconds? That would be the dream. So I did in fact see a lot more payroll professionals, I think, this year taking time off during the holiday season, which I was like pleasantly surprised. I was like, yes, finally. And I don't know if AI had anything to do with that or just overall process, but I hope to see more of that in 2026.
oh, yeah, me too. Me too. The future, just steal a phrase from, I think, a 1980s film. The future is bright. Um, I think it's an 80s film. Anyway, thank you, Kira, so much for joining us for this podcast episode. This is really illuminating.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. And let's see what 2026 has in store. But I think it's going to be some surprises and maybe not, but definitely a lot of exciting developments.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Can't wait to see. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning in to the Future of Workforce Management and Payroll Insights by HR.com. We hope today's episode brought you valuable insights and fresh perspectives on the future of payroll and workforce management. Be sure to check out more episodes and explore resources at hr.com/podcast or wherever you listen to podcasts. Until next time, keep innovating and making a difference in the world of payroll and workforce management.